Hi, it's Sandy, and today I'm bringing you my May TBR. So my May TBR is a little less sort of high stakes. It's a lot more low-key than my April TBR because I failed abysmally at my TBR. I read a good few books. I read like 13, 14 books, but TBR wise I only got like 3 books off my TBR, so hopefully May will be a little bit easier. So I've only picked 10 books to cover all of the prompts. So this month we are doing the Royal Readathon Epic edition. So for this round, Becca and Liv have set up 14 prompts, 2 for each era of Disney, and they've chosen a movie each and put a prompt to that movie. I'm going to do these a bit of out of order because I've reset it to like how the books are stacked rather than the eras in which the movies came out. So it will be a bit muddled, but that's how they've done the readathon, so I'll tag it all down below so that you can actually go see how it's meant to be done, but I will just be telling you the movie, the prompt and the book that I have chosen. So the first book that we're going with is Vampires Are Forever by Lindsay Sands. This is the 8th or 9th, I believe, in the Arjuna series, and I've picked this for Milan, Read a Book with Societal Standards. So this book is about Thomas and Inez. Thomas is sent to Europe to help find his Aunt Marguerite, who has gone missing, and the entire family is terrified of what this means because her only daughter, is pregnant and about to give birth, and Marguerite is nowhere to be found, and that is not like her. She is the mama bear of this entire family, and everyone is terrified that something has happened to her because nothing would keep her from Luciana's side while she is pregnant and about to give birth. In comes Inez, who is there to help Thomas while he is in Europe. However, there's a slight problem in that she has not been told about immortals, about vampires, about his requirements, blood. And yeah, Inez is not somebody that lets go of things very, very well. She is, as her name, Inez Urso, kind of dictates, she is a little bear. She will grab onto things and she will dig until she gets to the bottom of things, which is what makes her such an efficient staff member at Arjuna Enterprises. For the prompt of Societal Standards, part of this book is about a love story between Thomas and Inez, and well, most of it is about the love story between Thomas and Inez is very much has a bit of a problem when it comes to her self-esteem. She is Basque and she is quite short, quite curvy, dark hair, dark eyes, and quite dark body hair. She says to herself, like, it's ironic that her name pretty much means little bear because she is about as hairy as a bear. And in today's society, if you are short, and especially when these were written in the early 2000s, if you're short, slightly heavier than society thinks you should be, and have a lot of body hair, you are not seen very well in society, and that's how Inez feels. But of course, with all these novels, the other characters say, nah, screw that, you are perfect as you are, we don't want to change anything about you, what matters is who you are as a person. And I love that, and I love watching these characters learn to love themselves as well. So yeah, this is the book I've chosen for that. The next book I've chosen is Vampire Interrupted, again by Lindsay Sands. This is Marguerite's story. So this is basically what happens to Marguerite from before she was missing to when they find her and slightly after. So this kicks off like 3 books previously. So in Vincent's book, which is book 5, Marguerite leaves to go to Europe to help find Christian's mother, and then in Lucian's story she's leaving, and by the end she's missing, and Victor's story, Lucian turns up to say, Marguerite is missing, we need your help. And then again, Thomas is the one that goes to find her. So this is the actual story of what happened from Marguerite's point of view when she went missing. And I absolutely love this. So this is for Oliver and Company, read a book set in a city. So Marguerite starts off in York, and they go to London, they go to Paris, they go to all these different cities throughout Europe on this wild goose chase, and I love it. And they spend quite a lot of time in York actually, and some time in London, and you get to sort of walk around with them, which is really, really nice because nothing else has made me want to go to York as much as this book, and it's the walled city of York, like the proper like medieval city of York. So I'm so excited to get back into this again. The next book I've chosen is The Rogue Hunter by Lindsay Sands. Again, this is just a follow-on from Marguerite's story. This is the next story in the series, and it follows Sam and Garrett. We are introduced to Garrett Mortimer in Lucian's story. He is one of Lucian's rogue hunters, hence the title. And he goes to find a rogue vampire that has been biting people in this lakeside community. And the cottage next door is housing these three sisters. And turns out one of them is his life mate. But there's also a rogue vampire kicking about and they're trying to find him. So again, it's just them sort of integrating themselves into this community at the cottage, and him learning how to sort of woo Sam, especially since her sisters and her are very protective of each other, and he needs to get through them first to get to her. This book I chose for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which is Read a Book with a Family Dispute. Sam, Jo and their sister, Sam, Jo and Alex, who are the three sisters, they argue. They're sisters. They argue, and there is like that element of family dispute within this. So that's for that one. And for Encanto, which is Read a Book with a Small Community, this is a small lakeside community that they are trying to integrate themselves into. Everybody knows everybody. Like, people can be like, I saw your lights were off or on across the lake, is everything okay? Like, these people are in each other's pockets because it's such a small community. So this hits the nail right on the head with that prompt. Now on to a book that I meant to get to that I did not end up getting to this month, and that is A Magic Study by Maria V. Schneider. Maria V. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. I don't know why I can't say her name. It just tripped me up. This is the sequel to Poison Study, which I read in April and really, really loved and enjoyed. And this is following Yelena as she goes into the Southern Territories and sort of discovers her magic and what she can do and gets training, and so many other hijinks happen. I'm just trusting the process. I don't know much more about it, so I'm excited. The prompts I chose this for are Hercules, Read a Book with Strength. Yelena, she has to be strong. They're potentially looking at a war. She needs to be strong to fight and learn her magic. She's also meeting her family for the first time, so she has to be sort of strong that way because she's been missing for 14 years, 16 years, something like that. Yeah, she was taken when she was 4. She's been missing for 16 years, and all of a sudden is faced with this massive family. So she needs to be strong in a number of senses in this book. And I also chose it for the Lilo and Stitch prompt, which is a Read a Book with a Found Family. I don't know necessarily about this book, but in Poison Study, there is a massive found family element when it comes to Yelena, Valak, Ari, Janko, Rand, even the Commander. And I hope this carries on through this because Iris, or Iris, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce her name. I like Iris because it sounds more fantasy than Iris. Although a lot of them are named like plant names in that. So probably Iris. Seems like she's going to become some sort of mother figure, even though Yelena's mother is in this book. I don't know, it just, this whole thing, like, it's given 2000s YA, and there's always a great family element in that type of book. No one shock, really. Next one is Fire Study by Maria Snyder, and this is the third book in this trilogy, so I'll be finishing off. I know even less about this one because I don't want to read the synopsis and ruin it because I've not read Magic Study yet, so I know less about this. I just assume it's following Yelena and Valak and other characters as something else happens throughout this world. I chose this for the prompt for the Aristocats, which is Read a Book with an animal on the cover, and as you can see we've got some animals right there, there, all animals on the cover. Oh, and there. The more I look at it, the more animals I see. So, animals on the cover. The next book I have chosen is Soul of the Deep by Natasha Bowen. This is a book that I've been dying to get to, and I don't know why I didn't put it on my TBR. I thought I could add it to my TBR, and we're not going to talk about it. So I really, really want to read this. This is, I believe, the second in a duology. I've read the first one, and I am really excited to get to this. So it is going on the priority list for this month. This is about basically mermaids. They are Mamiwata, and it is based on an African mythology. I can't remember exactly which one because it has gone right out of my head now that I'm actually having to talk about it. But in the first one, she saves someone that she's not meant to save, and has dedicated herself to serving this god to save the lives of her other Mamiwata. But now something has happened and she has to break that oath to the god to save the world. So yeah, I'm excited to get to this. The first one was written so well, such a short book, but if it's anything like the first one, it will definitely pack a punch. Prompt wise, I chose this for the Peter Pan prompt, which is a read a book with adventure. Obviously, I don't think I need to explain that one. And Atlantis, read an underrated book. I have barely seen anybody talking about this. I think I've seen one other person online talking about this book, so I definitely think this is underrated. Natasha Bowen's writing in the last one was fantastic, so I expect great things from this, and I really wish more people would pick it up. The next book I've chosen is Vicious by V. Schwab. This is the Schwab Along book for this month, so I needed to fit it in anyway. And for this, I've picked it for Raya and the Last Dragon, read a book with a transformation. This is about Victor and Eli. Yes, Victor and Eli, who find a way to make themselves superhuman. So I believe it has something to do with a near-death experience. Like, they go through a near-death experience and come out as superheroes, but then become supervillains. I'm not entirely sure. I have heard a lot about this book, but nothing that's like an exact, like, there's so many different opinions on this book that I am not entirely sure. Like, you've got morally grey characters, you've got like all these different elements, so I'm excited to read this, and we'll be reading it with the Shrub-Lung folks. The next book I have chosen is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is the lovely Fairyla edition with the gorgeous sprayed edges, and thank you to Bobby for this. This is about Dracula's wives, and it's from one of their perspectives. This is based on the Dracula story, but like I say, from one of the wives' perspectives, I believe. I don't know a lot about this, but I do know that it is supposed to be harrowing and beautiful and slightly traumatizing. I've chosen this for the prompt for Pinocchio, which is to read a horror or a thriller. I believe this is a literary horror, and I did double check, and someone else agreed that this is a horror. It's based on Dracula, and Dracula is a horror novel, as far as I'm aware. I don't really do horror or thriller, so like this is the closest I have. It's based on Dracula. It sounds like it's going to be a difficult read, so horror it is. The next book on my list is Brief History of Black Holes by Dr. Becky Smithurst. This is a non-fiction about black holes. That's all I can really say about it. Becky is an astrophysicist. She has a YouTube channel called Dr. Becky, and she also talks on BBC Radio 1, I believe it is, quite a lot about space news and things like that, and I've been binging her YouTube channel, and I absolutely love it. I love listening to her talk, I love the cadence of her voice, and I'm really interested about what she's got to say in this book. For this, I have used it for the prompt The Sword and the Stone, read a book with learning. It is a non-fiction to teach you about black holes. The tagline is literally, and why nearly everything you know about them is wrong. Like, it's not a textbook, but it is a book about the study of space, which is, learning about space. The second prompt I've used it for is it's not even a stretch, it's kind of a stretch, but it's not a stretch. And that is for Tangled, read a book with the sun on the cover. See those specs? So this is a black hole. This is the event horizon of a black hole. And black holes tend to sit at the centre of galaxies, or at least supermassive black holes sit at the centre of galaxies, and are orbited by stars, which are suns. So I'm taking these little specks here to be suns. Or at least some of them have got to be suns that are spinning around this black hole. So I'm taking it. And the last book for my TBR this month is Immortality, a love story. Again, this is one that was on my TBR for last month that I never got to, but it is one that is high up on my priorities to get to. This is a follow-up to Anatomy, a love story, and this is a really strange romance so far. The first book was about a main character who wanted to be a surgeon, but she couldn't because she was a woman, so she dressed up as a man and went to these lectures, and then when she was found out, she made a sort of bet almost with the teacher, and she was like, if I pass your exam without you teaching me, you let women in and you take me on as your assistant. And he's like, bet. So that's what she does. She starts to teach herself, and she teams up with this grave robber, or resurrection man as they're called, to get her bodies so that she can teach herself. And there's also something going on in the background where the poor and the downtrodden in this world, in London, I believe it is, or Edinburgh, I think it's in, I don't even remember where it is, they are being kidnapped off the streets and reappearing with parts missing. Sometimes they're alive, sometimes they're dead, and suddenly the rich people of this world are also finding that they are gaining parts that they needed, if you get my drift. So this is a follow-on to that, and the end of the last book really, really intrigued me and really made me want to read this, so it will be going on that TBR. This I used for the prompt of Moana, read a book with a shiny cover, and as you can see as I've been moving this, you cannot, like, you can almost read my laptop screen in this cover. I swear it is. See it? It is so shiny. That's the bedroom light. Shiny. So yeah, I think this more than qualifies as a shiny cover. So that is my TBR for me. Let me know if you have read any of these books and what you think of them, if you think I'm going to enjoy them, and if you are going to be reading any of these books, let me know, and we can maybe buddy read or discuss these books as we go. Again, I'll link everything down below, and wish me luck, because last month, as you'll see in my wrap up next week, this month did not go very well, so wish me all the luck for me. Please do like this video and subscribe. I would love to have you here. Please comment down below, and I also have links in the doobly-doo for you to click on, things that help boost my channel and give you some free trials and things, so please do have a wee look down there. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!